Welcome to episode number 99 of the BEBC
BS
Podcast.
Fall
has
fallen. Fall has arriven.
It came and went. Summer's back.
It came with a loud farting noise on Thursday. It's like boom. It was not a bad night.
It was a great night for football.
Yep.
Yeah.
Temperature-wise, you couldn't have asked for anything better.
Yeah, as soon as that sun went behind the
bleachers.
The bleachers up there, Mark looked at me and said, wow, that feels a lot better.
Yeah. Well, one you could see.
Yeah.
I hate 6 o'clock games. I don't like televised games, but
Well, it's great if you're on the home side, but man,
Or the winning side.
folks, we're going to have a lot of laughs today because that's what we need to have in this situation. We were talking about the game after the game, and we're like, this might be the shortest podcast we ever have because there's not a whole lot of stuff to talk about.
Not a whole lot of highlights.
Yeah, James said this will be an easy edit week for me.
Yeah.
So there's not a whole lot to talk.
Let's get back to the 99s.
99, before we forget, because we would do that.
From the olden days, Lance Williams, 99.
One of our favorite
defensive
funniest
lineman.
people
Oh my
ever.
God,
absolutely
He
right.
is a funny human being.
And a very effective nose tackle, nose guard. He could tear people up,
He
man.
did. He went to Oklahoma Baptist and played up there.
Had a little bit of a thumb issue, but
He did.
He played through that. Played
What's
through the
Lance
pain.
doing these days?
I don't know. I just refriended him on Facebook, and he seems to be doing well. We'll have to catch back up with some of those older guys.
Yeah, we need to do that.
It's getting on 10 years now.
It is, isn't it crazy?
Shoot, man.
Crazy.
And then current, who did you say our current 99 is?
Caleb Nettles.
Caleb Nettles.
Big Caleb, anchor in the middle of that defensive line. Boy,
Yeah.
this whole Thursday night game thing has got me.
Don't like Thursday games.
Well, we had too
Don't
much
like
sleep
televised.
between breaking down the tailgate and having breakfast. You know, we had
right.
sleep.
That's true.
The tryptophan from the eggs and the bacon are kicking in, or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's crazy, but yeah, it's got me all out of sorts. So we got to get that straightened out.
Yeah.
And I just saw like that can of WD-40 on the table. It was just like, why is that there? I don't know.
I think we're going to squirt the Tin Man, and he's going to come back to life, and our team is going to be resurrected from
It was
rustiness.
a reference from one of we incorporated in the last podcast I was here.
Oh, did we? Still been sitting there.
Yeah.
Kind of like that cup.
Product placement.
So
Yeah, a little WD-40, a little Fresca.
yeah, it's
The fresh maker.
it's a 49-7 loss by the Allen Eagles.
Not unexpected or predicted by some.
Yeah, I guess when you sit back and look at it, losing may have not been unexpected. I mean,
But that lopsided.
Geyer was the favorite.
Yeah.
I think by everybody's estimation.
Senior heavy, lots of 4 or 5 stars.
You bet. Loaded team. They were loaded last year.
Very well coached and good team.
They were. There's not a whole lot you can say to take anything away from what they did to Allen.
They were a lot different than they were last year. And so were we. So.
I mean, they were good last year, and our team really stepped up.
Well, they were favored to win last year too.
They were.
True.
They were. But I think this year it was consensus that
Yeah.
There was no split
I just don't
voting.
think anybody saw that.
If it hadn't been for that older gentleman and Rudy's that walked by our table and said, y'all are going to lose tonight, then it might have been a different story.
Then he told us to enjoy our suffering.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like this is what we've been doing to other teams forever
I know.
and ever and
Yeah,
ever.
we have.
That's what we said.
It's very humbling.
We felt no remorse for their loss.
No, no, we didn't.
And their fans didn't feel it either. I promise you. They didn't care. You know, they were happy. First time guys ever beaten Allen. Not for the lack of trying.
Well, and it's like Prosper's win last year, rushed the field. Hey, more power to you,
Super
man.
Bowl.
Go for it.
You know, I'm glad they didn't rush the field.
Yeah.
That would have been a little over the top for them.
Yeah.
You know, given as good as they are, that team has a very good chance to win state and D2.
Oh, yeah. And there were just people were on edge and raw nerves and
we'll get into that because I do want to address a little bit of how fandom should react to what happened the other night as well. Coach Wig is going to join us. Coach Wig has had a tough week, as many of you know. He lost his father this week.
His father, Lee.
Yeah, his father. The funeral will be tomorrow.
Or Ken, I'm sorry.
Yeah, in Lampasas.
Yeah.
And we told Coach if you need to take the week off, we understand. But he said, nope, I'm there.
He's a trooper, man.
He said, I'll be on. And so that'll be good to get his thoughts on it. I'm interested, and I'm going to ask him, what his comments to the team after the game were.
Right.
How does, flush it, move on, or, what his thoughts were on it. Because, nobody goes into a game, especially a game of this magnitude, thinking what happened is going to happen.
Right.
And even us at halftime, when it was only 14-0, and you played, I guess you played well,
right?
But you had some mistakes and things.
Yeah, the penalties.
Yeah, the penalties were really hurtful.
What was the stats on penalties?
9 for 78 yards.
Okay.
But
It wasn't horrible, but the timing
was horrible.
Drive breakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were.
Especially on offense, when you get a false start and then a holding
Pre-snap
penalty
penalties.
back to back.
Yeah.
You're all of a sudden you go from 1st and 10 to
It puts you in a hole.
1st and 25.
Multiple in the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you think about it, we talked about looking at the replay, and Sibley scored.
Sibley did score. There's no doubt after
But-
seeing that replay. But the refs didn't see it that way, and you have to just play on. And then,
That was the same one that was almost Heikover's head.
yeah. And then the next play, it was on the 4th down, it was a very high snap, and it just blew the whole play up. So there's lots of little things like that just led to a 14-0 deficit at halftime. But you get the ball to start the third quarter, and you say, okay.
We need to drive down and score.
Kind of like when you're playing Martin, you're like, get the ball and go. Well, Martin did the onside kick and recovered.
To start the game.
Momentum. Yeah.
Yeah. I just told you that. McKinney did that. Now,
McKinney.
Yeah, McKinney gets the onside kick, and you're like, well, their best laid plans for the third quarter just went awry. Well, you get the ball, and you go 3 and out.
Right.
3 and out. 3 and out. And you look up, it's 35.
Yeah, it just got, as I think
Becomes
as Coach said in the
insurmountable.
paper, it got out of hand, and it did. And so it was a rough night for all things Allen. The good thing is you still control your own destiny as far as being the top seed in the D1 bracket out of this district. Basically, all you need to do is beat Prosper next week.
Yeah.
So, I was thinking, we've been teasing Coach about playing Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia back to back. I'm not sure whether Geyer was Alabama or Georgia after last week. Tennessee beats Alabama, and I don't know who's better amongst those 3 teams. And maybe this was Georgia, or maybe it was Tennessee, and Alabama's this week. Any way you look at it, it's no easy chore.
It was Georgia's defense with Tennessee's offense.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's a good way to put it.
That's a force.
The wind
is kicking up. Not that anybody would notice that. They can't tell.
87 degrees here today. So the Eagles fall to 6-2 on the season, 4-1 in district. 2 games left against a very, very, I'm just going to say this, poor Little Elm team. They lost to Boyd last night.
55-46 or something.
40, yeah, I think it was 49. 55-49.
A lot of points.
Yeah, it was a lot of points. Prosper is a different animal.
Yeah.
And
so who do we play next?
Prosper.
We play Prosper
at home.
That's right. We play Prosper next, and then finish up with Little Elm.
That is correct. Right. So, I really, oh no. My computer just gave me an error message, and it freaked me out there for a second. I was like, what is going on?
Well, make sure you're still recording. We don't want to lose out.
No, we're still recording.
Okay.
In the district last night, you say McKinney beat Rock Hill 42-10. Prosper beat Braswell 59-14. Braswell was without Jerian Wallace, their receiver. I looked at the stats at halftime last night, and I think Braswell had 9 yards rushing at one point in that game. Wow. Not good. And then Boyd beat Little Elm. It was 55-46. You're correct.
Right.
So, as we stated last week, the top 4 teams in the district probably going to be the top 4 teams in the district, being Geyer, Prosper, Allen, and McKinney.
Yeah.
How they fall out, I think Geyer pretty much has this thing wrapped up now. They still have McKinney.
And then McKinney, 42-10 over Rock Hill. That's a very respectable score.
So, and I looked it up this morning. I've already forgot. I'm not prepared. I'm being very honest here. About McKinney's got Prosper. They must play Geyer next week because I got Geyer and Prosper to end the season. So,
yeah,
talk about a gauntlet. 3 of their last 4 were just like Allen's against those top 3 teams. So, we'll see how McKinney fares against the Alabamas, Tennessees, and Georgias of the
That's it, man.
District 5, 6, 7.
Geyer and Prosper, and
yeah,
we've got Prosper.
That's well,
that's with games like this, and you mentioned it. You'll be asking Coach, but how do you recover?
Yeah.
How do you take the loss? You flush it. You work on the things that you can improve, which I know the coaches have that identified. So
they will figure it out.
Yeah,
that's what they get paid to do.
Yeah.
So, tough injury to Sibley.
Yeah.
Bless the kid's heart. We hope that everything goes well with his recovery. Thankfully, nothing was broken.
But your MRIs are
they'll
coming.
get an MRI this week to check out the rest of his ligaments and everything else. But he had a pretty devastating injury there that obviously puts
Took
a
him out for the whole game.
on things. Yeah, puts a damper on things. But you know what? Next man up, and I'm sure Coach will say the same thing. With anybody who goes down, there's somebody behind you, and hopefully they can. Micah Ellis, Crowder.
Yeah.
Both played the other night a little bit.
Yeah.
Actually, more. Ellis played a lot because he was playing.
I ended up
special
getting
teams
a
and
text from a friend that said, "Y'all got 50,000 students. Can't you find another running back in those 50,000 students?"
And we did. We've got several.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We'll see.
Haters.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
I know.
Can't give them oxygen. That's it.
There were people foaming at the mouth on the boards and on Facebook and everything else about
I got
you cheaters. You finally got what you deserve.
Time to call Coach. I'm going fishing. Yeah.
Okay. You might be. That's fine.
Yeah.
He'll probably call us back. So.
Hello.
Coach.
Hello, Coach.
Hey, how are y'all?
Good. Is this a good time? You seem busy.
No, well, we're finishing up a special team meeting, but we'll I'll jump back in with them as soon as we get done.
Okay. Well,
Thank you.
first of all, we want to, condolences to you and your family and the loss of your dad. We know that's been a tough week for you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. It's never easy. We've been, several of us have been down that road, and we're our thoughts and prayers. And I know all of Allen has been thinking about you and your family this week. So.
Well, I sincerely appreciate that.
You bet. Now on to Thursday night.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, because we really don't want to talk about the game. It was what it was. But what was your message to the team afterwards?
Well, afterwards is that everything that matters hasn't changed. Obviously, district championship and those are awesome. Those are awesome for communities to talk about, for signs that you can hang up, for resumes or whatever. But in high school football, what matters, differently than in college football is, do you get in the playoffs? Once you get in the playoffs, you have a chance to win a state championship. College football, you have to be one of the top 4 teams right now to have a chance to win it all.
That's right.
So, in 6A football, what matters is, did you get in the playoffs? And then, are you big school, small school? And then amongst that, are you the 1 seed, 2 seed? So, for anything that affects, this football team, the Prosper game is what was going to matter at this point. When you got to this point in the season, it was going to be, Prosper's going to be 1 seed or 2 seed. And Allen, after they, got up to the point of that, you're going to be the 1 seed or 2 seed. And it was, if you lost to Geyer or beat Geyer and lost to Prosper, then if you say the district championship, then there's a chance that's not in the mix, and the number 1 seed is not in the mix anyway. So
that's right.
What was going to happen is you were going to need to, it's going to come down to beating Prosper for seeding in the playoffs. So the message was very simply that everything that matters is right ahead of you. It's which we do next week that matters, and that was not the message, but that's what you were looking at it 8 weeks ago for me. You were hoping that we could play good enough to get to that point, which was certainly not a guarantee. But you were hoping we would get to this point to where that would be the game that mattered. So that was simply the message: is
sure.
Nothing is lost from what we're trying to accomplish.
Yep. Well put.
Well, that was a very good Geyer team that you guys played Thursday night.
It was a great, I've got a couple of buddies over there that have been there since they opened the school, and I asked him before the game, I said, how's this team compare? And he said, it's not comparable to anything we've had. He said, we've had some talented teams, we've had some, they've won it, they've done some good things, but they said we've nothing like this from top to bottom, and, the way they're a very experienced team. They've been together for a long time. They're playing at a very high level. They feel they have generational talent at 3, really he said 4 places, and they're good. They're really, really good, and they played well. They played well in all 3 phases. I think they're going to be a tough out in the playoffs for somebody.
Yeah, we kind of think the same after seeing it, because we saw that same team last year, but kind of like Allen, they were a lot of underclassmen on that team last year, and they've grown up.
Yeah, and in that game last year, and Allen was an experienced team last year, right? Allen was a much older team and all those things, but even still. Geyer missed a lot of easy opportunities, and that was kind of the thing that our guys said, way back in the summertime talking is they had, 7 or 8 wide open touchdowns last year that he just misfired on because we had, a large amount of pressure on him. I thought they did a really, really, really good job. I just thought they did a great job all the way around, but I thought they did a good job of playing with their tempo, getting the ball out of the quarterback's hands quick, and then they were very wise in when they were throwing it down the field, and they really eliminated any pass rush just because of the way they were able to get us running sideline to sideline, fatigue the D-line, and playing fast enough to where the pass rush was nullified, and then when we were able to get some, he had did a good job with some pocket movements, and he was just sharp. But I thought all phases they were sharp, and we weren't. Our kids played hard, really, really hard the first half, and had opportunities, and should have. I don't want to say should have, but you can certainly make the case that we could have gone in 14-14 at half, and if we just execute right, if we stay away from pre-snap penalties, if we don't hurt ourselves with whatever reasons, you say, okay, we're competing with them, it's 14-14. Sibley's injury certainly was a big blow. How are you going to play in the second half? I don't know. If you say it's 14-14, I don't know how it finishes up. Does it finish up 49-14? I mean, conceivably, but again, you could see very easily the script written a little bit differently than 14-0 anyway.
Right.
Well, it was we talked after the game, and it was humbling for us from the perspective of now we know how a lot of teams felt over the past 10 or 12 years when they played Allen, because it's not something that a lot of people have experienced. So rolling ahead to Prosper, as you said, this game makes all the difference kind of not in the world, but it's the game in the playoff picture. It certainly does, and they're no we were talking a minute ago. We've been kidding you about Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia. And I may have had them all mixed up. I'm not sure which one is which at this point.
Yeah, it's I'm with you. Guyer's the more complete team. They are. I mean, they are. They're and that's not to take anything from Prosper because you talk about a Geyer team that again I think is probably the best team in 6A right now in my opinion. I think that they're just a different class from the rest. I think that the things they can do on both sides of the ball. I just don't think there's anyone playing at that level. But then you turn around to a Prosper, who I think that there's not a better defensive team in 6A. I think the way their kids play, I think the way that they're coached, their talent level is high as well. But I think just if you just talk the defensive side of the ball, I think that you could poll most offensive coaches, and they would probably be the team that you would like to face the least of anyone in 6A, just because the way they play, and it's just there's no easy yards against them.
Right.
They're very confusing to go against, but they're also incredibly sound in that confusion, and that's rare. Typically teams that create that much confusion. My philosophy would be is, hey, we know they're going to get us some, but let's stay true to who we are, because we know they're also going to be out of position and you're going to get them some, and that's just not the case with this team. You look at the mass chaos that's going on, and then it just seems to all fit. They're just very well schooled, very well prepared, and great defensive team. And offensively, they're just doing some things well. They've got a couple of really nice playmakers. One really special that they're moving around, getting the ball to now. Now the games are more meaningful. They're finding different ways to be creative to get him the ball. But they're plenty good, and that's a team that has kind of had, according to our kids and these coaches, kind of had Allen's number. Not even, at all levels, like going back to this year's senior class. Diego was telling me, he said, Coach, they beat us in freshman year, and they're beating the freshman team every year since, and they just beat our JV teams. And, it's just a team that has been a tough matchup for whatever reason.
Yeah. And a team that will, and just a side note there, they're building that new high school up there.
They're going to be divided up.
It'll be interesting to see how that plays out going forward. Not that it matters for this year.
You would think, yeah. Who knows how they? Yeah, you're right. I mean, this might be. I would think that next year they probably allow you to stay, grandfather kids in, but they probably are on a. Things will change after next year, you would think. For at least for a little bit, but but anyway, great team, great opponent, and it's it's one that's going to be challenging for us for so many reasons, but. I look for it to be a really good matchup with our defense and their offense. Mm-hmm. The challenge is going to be, can we find a way to consistently move the ball against them? That's going to be the challenge.
Well, we certainly look forward to it. And just FYI for you and the coaches, it's Balding Eagle Chili Night out at Tailgate.
Award-winning chili will be served.
Yes.
Rather than eating your
They want to make sure you have a porta potty on the sidelines.
I'll do it. I'll definitely come out there.
Feel free to stop by and get some. All right, before we get to your picks, because Thad brought up a question this week that I thought was really an interesting one, and this is going to dive into your personal feelings a little bit. But since you were a coach, and we know at some point in the past you taught, his question was, what subject was your favorite subject to teach, and what grade level do you prefer?
Yeah, I was a math guy. I majored in math in college, and what the highest level is what I'd want to teach for just for the, just because it was more interesting to me. And same with grade level is I've always said that no one will ever have to try to run me out of town. Just reassign me to elementary school or something. I just don't have the patience for the young ones. I love them, love being around them, but in short doses. So I would prefer seniors and Cal 4 or whatever we can get on up there now.
Wow.
You'll eventually
we love math. Yeah, we love math teachers.
You'll eventually be a grandpa.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, Coach, you went 2-1 last week. You know, and the interesting thing about the games we picked, there were actually 4 big games. I didn't, for whatever reason, I blanked on the Penn State-Michigan game, which was fine. But all of those other 3 games either went to overtime or last-minute heroics. You know, you correctly picked Tennessee beating Alabama, which...
Good job.
Yeah, what a great game. If you, I don't know if you got to see it, but it was fantastic. You picked TCU to beat Oklahoma State, which was an overtime game over in Fort Worth. Mm-hmm. Another great game. And then you lost on USC because Utah got a 2-point conversion at the end of the game to beat them. So you went 2-1. You're 3-1 for the season, and we got 4 games for you this week.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. We'll start off with TCU again. They're hosting K-State this week over in Fort Worth.
It's a trap game. It's a trap game.
And I know. And last week, I ended up going, for TCU. I love those guys. I love their coaches and love the fact that they're in Texas and we're playing an out-of-state school. Something in my gut says that they just kind of, I'm afraid that K-State just might have a little bit of luck on their side for whatever reason this week, and I think I have to lean towards K-State.
All right.
Down goes the undefeated.
Adrian Martinez has certainly made a difference there at quarterback.
Oh, big.
Yeah. Or the purple. All right. This is always a fun one when you include Lane Kiffin in any game. Ole Miss traveling to LSU.
Yeah. That's a good game. Yeah, I think I'm going Ole Miss.
Oh, he's going to take them.
I like it.
The road warrior there.
Yeah.
All right. A big game in what's left of the Pac-12. UCLA travels up to face the Oregon Ducks.
Yeah.
Undefeated UCLA.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know why I feel like what I'm going to pick isn't going to make sense with this, but I feel like, a maybe underappreciated, but I think I don't know how good they are either, undefeated UCLA, but I feel like they might kind of just keep a little something going and beat Oregon, so I'm going to take UCLA.
Awesome. Right. That's interesting. He's taking 3 road teams right now. So we get to the 4th one. We'll see if you hang on to that. University of Texas travels to Stillwater.
Yeah, I am holding on to it.
Hook 'em.
I think that the Texas quarterback, I think he was borderline unconscious in the Oklahoma game and came down to earth a little bit. And I think that if he kind of, and this is a big if, but if he kind of settles in and takes the reins and says, hey, and gets comfortable in that role, I think they can end up being really, really, really special this year and tough to stop.
Yeah, you're on the same wavelength that I've been on ever since he got back. He makes such a difference for that team. We didn't realize how good he was in high school. But he really is. When he's on,
it shows more and more. Yeah.
Yeah, and
he needs to shave that beard.
Guys talking to us the week of Guy. There's a couple of coaches. Well, the Westlake coach, and he was talking about, and again, the Guy quarterback last year against Allen, was off. He was off bad. Mm-hmm. But and they did stuff. The deeper as they go in the playoffs, they're going to run him more. They're just going to do different things, like I think certain teams do, just have a little bit more in their tank. And I think we saw it all from them the other night. But the Westlake quarterbacks, or defense coordinator, who now is their head coach, who's phenomenal, he said that he's coached against a lot of really, really good ones, and he would take Geyers over any of them. He said, and people are going to say I'm crazy because of Quinn, but he said I think he's just a very, very, very special one. And I don't know that because I didn't get to see Quinn in high school, but I don't know that the guy. I think the guy one is pretty good.
Yeah. OU's especially the way their quarterback room is kind of cloudy right now. They'd be glad to have him up there at least to help out.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I would bet so.
Well, Coach, we do appreciate your time this week, and we look forward to Friday night.
Last two.
Well, I say last home game. Let's not make it the last home game of the year.
Yeah, let's
get another one.
No kidding.
Yeah. So have a good week, and we are thinking about you, Coach.
Thank you so much, and y'all have a blessed weekend.
Hey, you too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Coach Wig, stand up guy.
No doubt.
For all of you listening, it doesn't get any better than that because we did offer him, like I say, a chance to, bow out and take care of things he needed to take care of with his family, and he said, "Nope, making time for you guys." So we do appreciate him and all. It's added so much to the podcast to have him on this year. He offers a lot of insight. A lot of what it does for us too is it kind of reinforces some of the things we think and that we see, and know that they see it too, though. So it was great of him to hop on with us there, and y'all do be thinking about them tomorrow as they have the funeral for his father. We certainly want to keep him in our thoughts and prayers.
Yeah.
Hi, Nolan. Hi. Welcome to the party.
Sweaty boy.
Sorry I was a little late.
You working it?
Getting after it this morning.
Awesome.
He had more sweat on him than he did the last time he was
running stands. He was running stands with the big
boys. Did you run all the way over here?
She felt like it.
Came to the far east.
Whatever weight he lost, he put it back on.
I needed to carb up after that.
I think he spritzed. I think he spritzed a little bit on his shirt. Though. I don't know if he
That's
worked
it.
that hard.
Well, we can dig a little bit into the stats of this game, and our official stat boy is not here today, so we'll do what we can.
Maybe that's good because the stats were not in our favor.
Geyer ends up with 525 yards of total offense, 334 passing, 191 rushing. Their leading rusher was their quarterback.
Yeah.
Because I thought Allen did a very good job against the run, other than the quarterback.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he had the one long 50-something yarder. So again, I like to play with numbers. You take that out, they average less than 4 yards a carry.
Right.
Can't complain
and
about it.
We stopped their basic run stuff.
Yeah, his first two plays of the game, Nathan
sure.
Marsh was living in the background.
They weren't going through the A gap, B gap. That was for sure. And the way they were running the routes, that left at least one of the sides open for a quarterback scramble. So
They definitely had a wide range of things that they could do with the athletes that they had.
Yeah.
For sure.
They've got athletes.
Yeah, and the thing that,
Speed.
Well, those swing passes, the thing that makes those successful is the receivers were locking in on their blocks and, 8 or 9, 10 yards, before we could get to them,
Yep.
So.
Yeah, the routes they were running, and we're playing off. We're playing a zone pass coverage, and
not looking back at the ball.
Yeah.
Makes it tough.
It is.
Allen had 261 yards total offense, 99 yards passing, 162 rushing. Again, they had, especially the second half when we were talking, it was 14-0. Best laid plans have you coming out, scoring a touchdown, you're right back in the game. And, you had, I think, 3 consecutive 3-and-outs in the second half.
Right.
Yeah.
Which made
Scatter shooting while thinking how many yards we would have had if we hadn't had.
Right. The
Called
equivalent
back.
of leaving a bunch of men on
Passes
base.
called back, runs called
Seemed
back.
like every time we did have a real good positive play,
It was called back.
it was called back.
Yeah. They had 4 straight. Their 4 opening possessions of the second half were all punts. And you're not going to win many games when you're doing that.
And we had that one punt that was kind of a line drive, and of course they took it to the house.
Yeah, the minute he kicked that, I went, uh-oh. If you remember. Yeah, I was like, uh-oh. Because line drive to Peyton Bowen.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
9 broken tackles.
That kid's a stud.
Yeah. So,
He's in the end zone.
first series, 5 plays, 0 yards.
Is he uncommitted?
Geyer scores.
Notre Dame, I
Notre
think.
Dame. Second series, 5 plays, 6 yards. Denton scores. Next series, 6 plays, -5 yards. Geyer scores. And you look up and it's 35-0.
Quit being so repetitive.
Yeah,
Geyer scores.
Next series, 11
Like a broken
plays,
record.
-4 yards.
Geyer scores.
They did score. That's when he returned the kick for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then on the next series, we finally get a touchdown.
Hey, you know what was funny about that? Not only were we cheering and clapping, the student section was on the other side of the field was clapping too.
I don't think they were clapping to be supportive.
No,
that's pretty obvious.
It was very sarcastic. Yeah. It was funny. I have to give. Good for their student section. They were into it.
They showed up, man.
Well, I don't think they had fall break.
Student sections love a winner.
Yeah. So, it gets to 42-7, and Geyer scores one other touchdown, and then it's just, let's just get the game over.
And to be honest with you, Coach was taking his foot off the gas.
Yeah,
for
at that
sure.
point.
What was
third team in
the stat on the loss to Allen point-wise? Worst loss?
Oh, this is the worst loss since the 2006 loss to South Lake in the playoffs where they got
56.
beat 30.
That was the Nathan Dick game.
36. It was the shutout.
38-0.
Yeah, that was the Nathan Dick game.
Nathan throws an interception and tries to go make
Goes
a
and
tackle.
makes that tackle.
Throws his shoulder out.
And here comes Stephen Payne.
And then Matt Brown scrambled around for a little bit toward the end of that game. It was painful.
Stephen Payne, that everyone thought was the next big Vince Young.
Yeah.
Well,
that didn't happen.
And he injured his ankle on the Garland game and start the next season. And that was that.
There's so many things that didn't go right in this game. The penalties were really, really crucial.
Lopsided.
Well, no, they had 6. We had 9.
And the yardage, I thought it was going to be more glaring in the yard, and it was, but it was the plays that got negated.
Yeah,
I'd like to know, because it seemed like pre-snap stuff. Of course, it stops the play, but there were a couple of holding penalties and stuff like that you look up after a big play.
Yep,
right.
That it negated. There's like Coach said, he didn't think maybe it goes in half 14-14. It could still ended up 49-14, but the kids play how they feel.
Yep.
You go into halftime,
Mindset.
either down 14-7 or whatever. You come out of you're going to play better.
Yep.
But down 14-0, and especially
when it ends on a really, really bad field goal attempt.
Right.
And you had a high snap. And the holder did the best he could, but the whole time it was messed up. And that wasn't on Jake.
It's hard to overcome
an ongoing problem. And then there was one point where we only had 10 guys on the field, on and off and on and off. So that part of the story still needs to be fixed. I don't know what they're yelling for a kid all the way down the line. They can't find him anywhere. Yeah.
We need the well-oiled machine to show up.
I mean, it's just
if they practice nothing else.
We need to hire a coach for that
organization.
So let's address that here.
Yeah. Let's do it.
The kid that was running on the field late was Micah Ellis. Micah Ellis was not on the sideline on third down when they yell punt. Everybody get the punt team together.
He's on
the field. So when he comes off the field, he's thinking about the series or whatever. Blah blah blah.
He's thinking
it's still his fault.
He needs to go to the offensive meeting, which
or whatever.
Yeah.
And now he runs back on late.
Yeah.
So that was different.
There was just so much that just, again, we James and I were talking on the way home.
Things were just out of whack.
This is episode 99.
Did go wrong.
We could tell the 99 things that went wrong.
I mean, let's keep it in perspective. These coaches have been in place since June.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's a young team.
Yep.
New coaching staff. They're going to get better. We just got to chill out and relax and let them do their stuff.
Well, should we quote Kyler Murray? Just chill out.
Calm the F down. For those of you who didn't see that, if you want to see Kyler mad,
that's an epic meme right there.
Just look up Kyler and Kingsbury from
dang
Thursday
awesome
night.
is what it was.
Yeah.
Hey, and the way they addressed it is, they're both competitive and they both want to win, and
there
they're
is
good.
no doubt.
There's probably a relationship there that allows them to be that way with one another.
Absolutely.
You got head coach, quarterback, they're in the room together a lot.
Same way with these two.
Probably.
Yeah. Same way with all of us.
Yeah.
Because we do both. We'll pick on each other, but we love each other. And
we'll stretch it to the limit.
Yeah.
Freaking crack over here. Oh, God.
But it's and again, much like we talked about, Coach Geyer's team last year was a bunch of sophomores, juniors, who are now seniors and juniors. you're kind of looking in the mirror there.
Yep.
This Allen team that isn't senior laden, and you got a lot of young people playing, and guess what? They're going to be a whole lot better next year because they're going to have a whole year of experience. We're not going to let Coach tell us, well, we only had 8 people with any type of experience suiting up, because that ain't going to be the case next year.
We just need, everybody needs to support the players. We don't have to have a rah-rah session like some little person with a megaphone.
I think we need to get them.
Chick story?
That nice lady. She just needs
funny.
a bigger megaphone.
No, she don't.
Yeah.
And you were egging her on, DA.
Where's my little megaphone?
Yeah.
Oh, we need to get
It was great.
Hey, she was passionate.
Yeah,
That's what she was saying.
She was letting them have it, and she's talking to her husband, I think it was, or
But just
whatever.
out of blue. Now, who
Her
was it? Was
husband wasn't really wanting to talk back to her.
This was after the game, and
Yeah.
she's down on the concourse, and she goes, "Well, everybody's sitting there like this." And I said, "You got to realize. I mean, Alan's not used to, being treated this way.
No.
I mean, people react in their own."
Who was
So
one of you
we-
was it
there
that
was a
said
time
that
we
was the
did
lady
get
from
treated
Plano
that way,
that had
but
the
that was a
Plano
long
sign,
time.
the
Yeah,
little
that
Plano
was
sign?
It was sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was fun. It offered some entertainment during some other things when there wasn't a whole lot of
Yeah, it was a
going on.
little bit of a distraction at the right times.
She can go down to the students section.
Yeah, but Allen folks, you know what? This happens.
Are we a community or are we not a community?
Exactly.
Do we support each other?
We're
Heck
cheaters.
yeah, we do.
We're cheaters.
No, we're
and
not.
we got what we deserve.
That's the haters. There's so many haters out
We
there.
did not recruit well this season.
we didn't have enough. We didn't have enough money to pay everybody.
Exactly.
I know.
Our NIL deals.
We didn't have an
through.
NIL deal.
We didn't have a, what do they call
I
it?
know.
My wallet.
And the payment to the refs was late. I mean, what are we gonna do?
Our likeness fees. I mean, we didn't get paid for this.
likeness.
Likeness. That's funny. All right, so next week, Prosper, fellas.
I have an image
At home.
of a win in my head. We are going to win this game.
I
just feel
like
it.
what Coach said, though, because
feel
I
it.
want everybody listening to go back, and if you didn't, listen to him again, where he said it's going to be a struggle.
And he thinks
Offensively
they have the
especially.
best defensive team.
Yeah.
And not just
6A.
them, but there are a lot of coaches around the state that say that they got
Well, and
one of the
yeah,
better
we saw that
defenses
the
in the
last
state.
2 years. I mean,
Yeah.
beat them on the last, or close to the last play of the
Right.
game 2 years ago.
They
lost
do a
to
good
them last
job
year.
of bringing different guys, blitz packages,
They're
run
deep.
blitz packages, a lot of things schedule, and
Braswell had 215 yards last night against them, 109 passing on 8 of 33.
Wow. That's
106 yards
painful.
rushing, averaged 2.9 yards a rush. Both teams had 4 turnovers. That's interesting, though.
Yeah.
4 turnovers for Prosper. 2 fumbles and 2 interceptions.
Is that a Braswell?
I watched that game, Geyer and Prosper. Prosper's quarterback doesn't look like he can get it down the field, but Coach brought up a point that they have a way to inventive ways to get the ball, and I don't know who he's referring to. One of their better athletes. So that'll be the key this week. Can we shut some of that down to get them off schedule?
That's right.
And I think minus the pre-snap stuff and maybe minus a critical holding penalty or two, that we will be able to move them.
Well, and as we mentioned earlier, Micah Ellis, Michael Crowder.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to step up, fellas.
Step up.
Sibley's not going to be there. He's not going to be there. So game plan accordingly.
And you got kind of thunder and lightning with those two.
Yep.
Crowder's more straight ahead at you,
Right.
run tough, and Micah's can get to the edge a little better and has
Good slasher,
some of
good
that
movement.
cutting
Yeah.
ability. Not many people have the same cutting ability as Kavion. There was a couple runs he made the other night where he just put his foot in the ground and went up.
Yeah.
We don't have that as good, but Micah is going to be called on to do more of that.
I heard you, Nolan.
What did Nolan say?
He goes, I do, when you talk about cutting ability. He goes, I got it.
Well,
Yeah, we're not talking
unfortunately,
parts.
we won't be able to use that on the field Friday.
Well,
But it'll be available, but all the chili that'll be floating around.
and Coach did say this game is important, and it is important, but it's really important.
I'm gonna take my chili and go home.
From the playoff
instead
perspective.
of a district championship being the most important, it's the division championship where you go D1 or D2.
Yeah, because
Nobody else heard that.
Prosper's still got to play McKinney too, and I wouldn't put it past McKinney to be able to pull something out.
I agree. That's a good
they're pretty
matchup.
talented.
That's an up and coming program there too.
Coach Shavers.
Great job.
Marcus.
That's going to be a good season-ending game. If we didn't have our game to go to, that'd be worth going to see those two and see how that works out because, Prosper.
Maybe we can filter out at halftime with the band parents and go catch the end of the.
Here we go.
Just being
We had to throw it.
We are over at Little Elm. That is a
Little
tiny
Elm.
stadium.
and they're playing in Prosper, so it's not that far away.
Yeah.
So,
That's just
anyhow.
straight over.
Can you imagine the
Is that
look on people's
Eldorado?
face when they see us all get
That's
up
on
and walk
Eldorado.
out?
That'd be
isn't it?
something, wouldn't it? Yeah, Randy Bridges now is starting to call people out when they leave early.
I know. What was that?
Hilarious.
What was that all about?
Well, they went to school together
good
back in
friends.
They've known each other
They've
from
known each other for
day one,
50
literally.
years
So he was just
plus.
calling
That's
her out.
funny.
That was funny. People who didn't know,
They're like, "Oh my gosh,
calling somebody?
I can't believe you're doing that. This must be a joke."
Oh, look who's! I bet she'll be red.
Yeah, that was funny. Good old Randy. Gotta love him.
If you see some of the cartoons he draws for her, it's pretty hilarious.
Okay, folks. A couple things. Next week, Prosper Friday night, chili night at the Balding Eagle tailgate.
Yep.
Come by.
We may have some tailgate neighbors.
We need a porta potty sponsor.
Yeah. Oh, we do. Okay.
Also, next Saturday, episode 100.
100.
We have got
Epic.
several
Guest stars.
guests who are going to be here. We have several
Call-in
blasts
guests.
from the past calling
yeah.
guests, which is going to be a lot of fun. We'll have our call with Coach Wig as always, but that's going to be really cool.
Have chili for everybody
Well,
Yeah.
leftover chili for breakfast. On
on your eggs.
Saturday afternoon, I'm going to go ahead and plug this because I'm going to be there.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
too.
I think that's a good plan.
Basketball team,
Hoop Fast.
Fan Jam,
Yep.
is on Saturday afternoon starting at noon. The entrance fee is only some canned goods. They're doing a canned good food drive, so bring a couple cans and you get in free.
And not beer cans.
Nolan.
You can try that. I'll see what happens. But that we had a
Couldn't you
blast
not
at
work
that
that a
last
little bit
year.
longer? Couldn't you not?
They'll
What
be-
do they do
longer?
with that, Mark?
Well,
Do they have a dunk contest? And
They did not have a dunk.
Yeah.
What they did last year, which was really cool, was they had one player who had one teacher or administrator, and they had a 3-point shooting contest. That team against another student, another player, and a teacher or admin or
okay.
something. It was really cool.
Each end of the court.
And they
3-point shots are tough.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was some real misses.
because you play like horse. They have to play horse around the 3-point line.
Yep. Go around the key.
And then once either the player or the admin or the teacher makes them all, then the player gets in. Whoever gets done first advances.
Okay.
So it was pretty cool.
So it's like around the world.
Yep.
And when you're part
From the 3-point line.
relay around the world.
Yep.
It's a relay. match.
Well, and there were some teacher administrators that were huffing and puffing trying to shoot all those 3-point
Oh
shots.
yeah.
And they
Those legs burn.
they'll
out.
have a women's scrimmage at noon. They'll have a boys scrimmage as well.
Okay.
They'll have a meet and greet with the players. You can get there for kids. You can get their autographs, take pictures with them.
And for those who don't know, Allen is preseason ranked number 3 in the state.
Number 3.
So
We need to talk to Coach Sip about that.
don't
'Cause
tell
there's
me
gotta
we're
be
turning
something to go
into a
along with that.
basketball school.
Wouldn't that be something? I was like, wow.
Hey,
So-
well, we're turning into a tennis school. We're beating all the big powers in tennis. Volleyball's doing well, not necessarily top 10 state ranked, but they're a force to be
they're
reckoned with.
good.
Come out for some volleyball
Yeah,
games.
it's fun, guys.
Exciting.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Did they win last night? Anybody know? They went to Prosper. I hadn't seen.
I hadn't seen.
That was.
Let's look it
tough.
up. Keep talking amongst yourselves.
So anyhow, Fan Jam next Saturday as well. We'll be there. We did a podcast from there last year. Got a lot of players on.
We'll go live.
We'll figure out something. It was a pretty noisy down there with all the basketballs and everything. But we'll see about maybe getting some different headsets.
We also judged the dunk contest.
We were part of the dunk contest, Judge. Yes, we were. So come back and see the Allen Eagle basketball team and the coaches, and that'll be fun. That next Saturday. So got a big week coming up. And episode 100 next week is going to be really fun. We're going to have a good time with it. So hope y'all will tune in next week.
We're building. Hear all your favorite heroes and stuff, and
exactly.
we need to do a player retrospective at some point and get some of the key players that have gone through the system.
We might just have one of those calling in next week.
Oh my gosh!
So there you go.
That's crazy.
But you got to tune in because I'm not going to tell you who it's going to be. So.
It's Frank the Tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Allen playing Prosper. They won. Prosper won 3-1.
Okay.
So we took one set.
Yeah.
The one game.
Okay. One set. All right, folks. Enjoy the rest of your week. Cooler weather's coming, so get through today and tomorrow, and then I think we got some rain moving in, and we'll have a little fall temperature.
Happy
So
Halloween.
it'll be good.
Next game will be on my 38th wedding anniversary.
Oh, and Friday night is senior night too.
There you go.
So
Boo Bowl senior night.
Boo Bowl was last
Blue Bowl,
week.
Yeah, that's right.
which I'm, whatever. We'll get it.
Get it out of the way. They didn't want to do it the same night
Carbon
as senior
pumpkins
night.
this year.
Anyways, folks,
May the skeletons be with you.
until next time, it's over and we're out. Hook 'em.